What's up guys, JB2017 here, and I am bringing you a new Fallout 4 tips and tricks video. And this time we are continuing my companion guide series where we take an in-depth look at every follower in the game. Just a quick reminder guys, this is your hub for daily Fallout 4 content here on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned on my channel for daily Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos. Today I'm sharing my companion guide for Codsworth, who is the very first companion that you'll meet. Of course, he's there handing the player some coffee within the first few minutes of starting the game. And in this video, we'll discuss how to get Codsworth, what his stats look like, how to increase his affinity, and the effectiveness of his companion perk. And first, let's talk about a little background info for Codsworth. Obviously, he's a Mr. Handy robot, which were designed to do chore-related activities like a butler before the war. While they do have a flamethrower and buzzsaw to defend themselves, they're nowhere near as deadly as the Mister Gutzy, which is something you'll find out in the Commonwealth, of course, which is a military variant version of the same basic model. And as we know, Codsworth was the robotic butler for the family before the war, for the player's family. He wasn't allowed to come inside Vault 111. Unfortunately, it was just, the baby, the player, and the spouse. But of course, he did survive for over 200 years. You find him after emerging from the vault. So Codsworth is really just a loyal companion who's really just out for the best interest of the player. He is a good companion morally, so it's not going to be someone, if you're playing an evil character, Codsworth is probably not going to suit, what you want to do as an evil character. He really is a morally sound, good character. Codsworth is located at the very beginning of the game. Like we said, once you emerge from the vault, he will be in Sanctuary Hills near the sole survivor's house. So it's really impossible to miss him unless you just avoid Sanctuary Hills entirely. He'll just be hanging around there. You'll look for Sean, and then he'll send you on your way, and then he'll just be hanging out there. So don't forget to come back and get him. He will be hanging around here unless you tell him to move. The hidden special stats for Codsworth are 9, 10, 7, 7, 16 intelligence, 10, and then 7 for a total of 66 special points. So I touched on this in another video talking about these hidden special stats for our companions. They don't really seem to, affect a lot of things. Codsworth has a lot of intelligence, we can tell, but this really doesn't affect anything because, intelligence affects XP. Basically your ability to gain experience, and companions don't really gain experience. They level up with the player side by side. So anyways, this is the special spread for Codsworth, but it doesn't really affect a lot of things. But some of the other things that do matter are that Codsworth has 150 carry weight, which is default for everyone. Of course, some have higher, but Codsworth is just at the default. And also, he's immune to poison and radiation damage. So you can safely bring Codsworth to, the glowing sea, for example, and not have to worry about him. And he's immune to poison, which is something you'll get from other sources. But since he is a robot, it would make sense that he is immune to these things. Now let's talk about companion affinity, which is pretty much this game's version of a loyalty system for your followers. And pretty simply, Codsworth will react to player actions, choices, and dialogue, kind of reflecting what he thinks, and he'll have his own system. It'll say, Codsworth loved that, liked that, disliked that, or hated that. He will react, and there's an invisible bar that kind of tracks that. Unfortunately, there's no way to look at it on the surface. On PC there may be a way to kind of, finagle your way through and look at that bar, but we can't really look at it on the surface. So basically the idea is to do things that Codsworth likes or loves, and that will increase that bar all the way to its maximum at 1,000, and once you get that maximum affinity, he will grant you a companion perk. Unfortunately, there is no way to romance Codsworth, so sorry if you like robots, that's your thing. Unfortunately, this game does not allow you to do that. Now let's talk about some of the choices you can make that Codsworth will react to the same every single time with the general affinity choices. So very generally, Codsworth likes it when the player is generous and helps out people or is nice to people. So Codsworth is pretty much the classic nice guy. He's a nice robot. That's what he likes. He is a very good character, like I explained before. And he also dislikes it when you are selfish, so when you're not helpful for people. He doesn't seem to have an opinion when you're mean to people, which is interesting, but he doesn't like it when you are selfish. So if you want Codsworth around and increasing his affinity, for you, then try to help people out. That's a pretty general thing that you should do with Codsworth. Next are some more specific choices. This is your specific affinity with Codsworth and how he will react when you do specific actions. So, for example, Codsworth likes it when you heal dog meat, which is interesting. So that means dog meat will need to be around you at the same time as Codsworth in order for him to like that. So the only situation I can think of is if you have both of those companions at a settlement and you're getting attacked and you need to heal dog meat. Anyways, it's a very specific scenario. He also likes it when the player modifies armor or modifies weapons. So any kind of modification and crafting going on with your weapons or armor, Codsworth likes that. And we'll actually use that fact to our advantage when we talk about how to boost his affinity very quickly in just a minute here. So he doesn't like it, he dislikes it when the player murders non-hostiles, so pretty much, people that are not fighting back. He does not like that. He also doesn't like it when the player picks owned locks, so pretty much, breaks into stuff. He does not like that. He doesn't like it when you try to get more caps. If you're a charisma-based character and you ask for more caps, that's something you're going to be doing frequently with high charisma. It's just a really good idea. You're taking advantage of it. Codsworth is not a fan of that. Piper would probably be a better choice for a high charisma character in that sense. Also, Codsworth does not like it when you steal anything or pickpocket from people. So, Codsworth, again, he's the classic nice guy. I'm sorry for repeating that, but that's really what he is. So don't do anything bad or evil or morally, a little gray. If your goal is trying to increase his affinity, he just won't like that, and that'll just work negatively against you. Now, there is a way to boost Codsworth affinity very quickly. So if you don't want to deal with all of these things and you still want to have Codsworth with you, this is how you're going to do it. And this is the same method that I introduced in my Preston Garvey video, but I wasn't able to figure it out in that video. Now I have figured it out, and I'm going to show it for you guys here. So Codsworth, again, he likes it when you attach weapon mods. He actually loves it. And so that is a big boost for that, invisible affinity bar. So what you're going to do is go to a settlement with a weapon workbench and bring Codsworth with you, obviously. I don't think he has to be your companion, but I would just make him your companion just to make sure. Seems like people in the area, if you do something they like, they all like it, but I can't confirm that. So just, to make sure, make your companion Codsworth. And go to a weapon workbench and then attach a weapon mod. Now, you don't have to create a mod. You can literally just, attach one that you already have made. And once you do that, you'll see in the top left that Codsworth loved that, okay? So that increased his affinity just by doing that action. Once you've attached that mod, you're gonna back out of the weapons workbench and then quick save. And that's just gonna take a second. And then what you're gonna do is immediately load that very same quick save that you just made. And you'll have to wait through a loading screen. On Xbox One, it took maybe like 5 to 10 seconds, maybe 10 to 15 seconds on average for this to load back, and you'll be in the exact same location, of course. And then you're going to repeat the same process, and it's actually going to show up the same thing in the top left that Codsworth loved that when you just put on the same mod that you took off. So essentially what I did with the Overseer's Guardian is I made, I believe, another receiver, and then I put it on, and then I took it off and, removed it. And so I basically just cycled through the same mod back and forth after doing this thing. So just to recap very quickly, in order to do this correctly, you have to quick save. You can't normal save. And it's a lot quicker to quick save as well. So what you're going to do is attach the mod and then back out, quick save, load that same quick save, and then attach the mod, back out, quick save, load the same quick save. You're going to repeat this process over and over. And I realize this is a boring, monotonous way to increase the affinity. It's probably, more enjoyable to go out and do nice things for people, and then Codsworth will like you and you'll get his affinity up. But this is a shortcut for those who don't want to bring Codsworth with them. Maybe you're playing an evil character. Once you get the affinity perk, that will stay with you. So keep that in mind. It doesn't matter who you have with you. As long as you're still in a good standing with, all of your companions, you keep their affinity perks. Speaking of which, Codsworth's affinity perk is called Robot Sympathy, and it gives you plus 10 damage resistance against robot energy weapons. It's a very specific affinity perk, and honestly, I don't think it's very good. I'm not even sure it's worth your time to get, but it's really easy to get, especially when you consider, the boosting affinity that I just showed you guys. Considering other options, it's not super strong, but once you get it, and if you don't piss off Codsworth, you've got it with you at all times when you're fighting robots with energy weapons. And in theory, this should work against synths, I believe. So it's a good idea if you're fighting them, as another faction, to invest in this perk. But it's not a game changer by any means. This perk is not super strong like Preston's or Dance's, for example. Robot Sympathy is a bottom tier perk, in my opinion, for your companions. And briefly, I wanted to touch on this. This is something I'm going to include in future companion guides, but for Codsworth, there are no items that you can equip on Codsworth. This will be the same for other companions and different for others, but you can't, equip a weapon or armor on Codsworth. Those things are just not available, and therefore they don't apply to Codsworth. You don't really have to worry about them. Just some final thoughts. Codsworth is a morally good companion. I've said that like 4 times in this video. That's just what he is. He doesn't bring anything super special to the table. Nothing, like Kate with her lockpicking or Nick with his hacking. There's nothing specific and special about Codsworth as a companion, except for his British accent and his attitude and, the way he interacts with the player. That's all unique, but in terms of combat and utility, I would not put Codsworth very high. So I'd like to know, will you use Codsworth after watching this video? Do you have any interest in him, and will you get his companion perk? Will you spend the time to get Robot Sympathy? Again, I don't think it's very strong. I'm not even sure it's worth your time to get it, but if you're playing a good character, you might as well bring Codsworth along, because you will get his maximum affinity pretty quickly if you choose to be a good guy. And finally, what companion would you like me to cover next? There's plenty to cover, so I'd like to know that as well. Share all of that in the comment section below. Alright guys, today I shared my companion guide for Codsworth in Fallout 4, and next time we will cover more Fallout on my channel, so stay tuned for daily Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos, and remember that this is your hub for Fallout 4 content here on YouTube. If you learned something new, remember to hit that like button, I would really appreciate it, and don't forget to subscribe for more unique weapon guides, build guides, companion guides, and general tips and tricks videos. Talk to you guys next time, peace!